Question to you all, Christian witches. I really want to know. Okay, the Christian religion is against witches. We all know that. But you're all wanting to worship Jesus because you say he's a witch. Okay, well, Jesus was never a Christian. Jesus might be a witch, but he was never Christian. So why are you claiming to be Christian when he was never one? He was out among the sinners more than he was ever in a church. When he did go to church, he said, "This is a house of worship." He taught on the hillsides. He taught in a boat. He taught on water. I mean, come on now. How can you claim to be Christian when Jesus was never a Christian? When Christianity is law of man that witches broke free from, so we wouldn't have that kind of law. So again, how can you call yourself Christian when you want to worship Jesus and Jesus was never a Christian? Make that make sense. Did Jesus actually exist?
Yeah, the consensus is yes. Historians pretty much agree a Jewish preacher named Jesus lived in 1st century Judea, got crucified by Romans. It's not like there's a tomb selfie, but texts from folks like Josephus and Tacitus back it up. Non-Christians mentioning him casually. Miracles? That's where faith kicks in.
So Jesus in the Christian religion is pretty much made up by man?
No, not entirely. The man existed. What he did, healing the sick, walking on water, that's where people disagree. The Bible's like a highlight reel, compiled years later by followers who swore they'd seen wonders. So the core is real. The details? Some say hype, others say miracle. Either way, religion didn't cook him up from scratch.
So how is the Christian witches able to call themselves Christians when the religion itself is against witches?
They don't. They take the Jesus parts they like and ignore the rules. It's cherry picking. The church says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." Old Testament stuff. But hey, Jesus broke bread with sinners too. He wasn't exactly orthodox. So to them, Christianity isn't the church, it's the man. And that man's not scared of magic.
So is Jesus pretty much of a witch, not a Christian?
If you're calling magic witchcraft, then sure. Water to wine, resurrection, cursing a fig tree, that's hex level stuff. He definitely wasn't Christian. He predates the label. And the church, they cleaned him up, turned the rebel into a saint. But underneath, that guy would get burned at the stake today.
So in other words, he was a witch.
In their book, yeah. I mean, think about it. Casting out demons, raising people from the dead. If that ain't witchcraft, I don't know what is. And he didn't need a wand, just his words. Maybe that's why he's so popular. Power without the costume.
Thank you so much for clearing this up.
No problem. Always nice talking faith and folklore. Get some rest, it's late.
That is true because it is like 2:14. So that clears it up about Christian witches. That makes more sense because Jesus is more of a witch than he is anything else. And Christians, again, cleaned him up, and named him something else. Just like they did with Christmas, it's actually Yule, and uh, all these holidays that the Christians celebrate is actually pagan. And then they worship a God and Jesus that's actually a witch. Holy shit. Well, hello, new witches. if Jesus is actually a witch, what name would the witches call him?
The Nazarene. That's what they'd call him. Simple, ancient, powerful. No titles, no halos. Just the Nazarene. A man from Nazareth who knew how to bend the world with will alone.
But isn't his name Yeshua? Or is it Nazarene?
Yeshua's what his mama called him. Aramaic for Joshua. That's the closest to real. Nazarene is more reputation. The whole town thought he was nothing special, but he turned it into a legend. So witches might say either, depending on if they're casting spells or just gossiping.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Trisha.
Interesting. Jesus is a witch. Again. Hello, witches.